This is Dr. Fab. I'm right now at the Phoenix City Hall talking to you guys live. And this is my live protest against the nefarious agenda of the secret government of US that is trying to break up Pakistan. There have been letters that have been exposed via WikiLeaks of US congressmen who have been involved in plotting an agenda to break up Pakistan, to plant an insurgency in Balochistan province, and now they're doing it. The secret covert government of US is trying to break up a sovereign nation via campaigns like PTM, which is a separatist organization which is asking for an independent country called Pashtunistan to be carved out of Pakistan. And this is just going to harbor and breed more conflict in the zone. It's going to make peace impossible to achieve. So here's my little humble attempt to try to convince the Americans to stop this secret government from plotting such heinous agendas that are only going to aggravate conflict in the zone, that is going to make peace impossible to achieve, and that's only going to make the lives of the US soldiers even in more danger than they already are. You cannot have peace if you make plans to break up sovereign countries. Pakistan played a big role in the war against terrorism. Pakistan lost more than 100,000 civilians of its own in the war against terrorism. Pakistan lost an economy equivalent to $500 billion because it chose to help US in the war against terrorism. So why is it that the Americans are allowing the secret government of US, some elite people, to break up a sovereign nation that has always been so friendly towards the US, that has never threatened the US, that has always played a major role in attempts to curb down terrorism, not just regionally, but globally? Pakistan has had a record, excellent achievement in the war against terrorism, having eradicated terrorism by 99.9%. No other country has achieved this goal. And now to break up a country, a sovereign nation that has done nothing but help US in the war against terrorism, that has stabilized the entire zone, that has done what is the best for this world. Why would the Americans stand by this nefarious agenda of the elite class of US that is trying to plant separatist organizations like PTM to break up Pakistan, that has been nothing but an ally of US? What is that is causing you to be so distracted that you do not see the danger this is going to put the entire zone and the world into? Because Afghanistan is a silent volcano that could erupt and destroy the world again if things are not stabilized, if we do not allow the process of stabilization right now. The lives of the US Marines is in danger. Your economy is at stake. You're losing $6 trillion in this war that's hemorrhaging your resources. So tell me, why is it that you're not stopping your congressmen and congresswomen who are quietly, silently trying to break up a sovereign nation that has sacrificed so much for the freedom, for the liberty, for the safety of Americans. Americans should understand that if they did not stop these secret elite hands from plotting this nefarious agenda today, there will never be peace in Afghanistan, and thus there will never be peace in the world. Why do you want to stand by escalation on conflict in a zone that has barely gotten over the worst war the world has ever faced? We cannot afford another conflict in the region. And the people whose idea is to break up a sovereign country, to break up a friendly country, just because it suits the military-industrial complex, just because it will profit the military-industrial complex, just because it will initiate a new war. Americans, you guys have to stop this. You are a democracy. Why aren't you not interested in doing the right thing? Not just for peace in US, but for peace in the world. If you don't take a stand today in favor of Pakistan against the secret hands that are covertly trying to destroy peace in the region and in the world to profit a few military contractors, it is your loss. It is your soldiers who are going to die in Afghanistan. It is your economy that's going to continue to hemorrhage at the cost of your lives. So why won't you try to stop these secret coward hands from committing such nefarious agendas that are trying to break up sovereign nations that have been nothing but friendly towards your causes, that have only supported your efforts in the war against terrorism, that have only done so much and sacrificed so much in the war against terrorism. Pakistan lost 100,000 civilians in the war against terrorism. Pakistan lost $500 billion worth of economy. Today, 60% of Pakistan's population is below the poverty line because Pakistan chose to help US, and today it is the secret government of US that is using people like Mansoor Pashtun, people like Mohsin Davar, people like Ali Wazir in the name of human rights. They are orchestrating a separatist agenda to carve out a new country, Pashtunistan, out of Pakistan, because this will escalate conflict, because this will initiate another war, and war is profitable for the military-industrial complex of the elite of the US. So I really ask you, I know you want peace for yourself and you want peace for the world and for your children, but you can't do it, you can't have peace if you just sit on your couch and watch television and feed on the lies and the deception that your government is giving you. You have to work for peace. You have to go out of your way for peace. You have to do what is the right thing to do. You cannot allow the hidden, coward, money-making machine of the military-industrial complex to escalate violence in the region by empowering and energizing separatist agendas in the form of organizations like PTM and their activists like Mansoor Pashtun, like Mohsin Davar, like Ali Wazir. We cannot have peace if you just sit down and not do anything about it. Your government is not going to bring peace for you. All they're interested in is money. It is up to you, the American civilians. It is up to you, the American people, to make an effort out of your way to try to stop the hidden coward hands that are trying to destroy a sovereign nation that has been one of your biggest allies in the region, that has sacrificed 100,000 civilians to keep America safe. Give me one country's name that sacrificed 100,000 civilians for the sake of safety of Americans. Give me one country, one of your allies. Name one ally of yours that sacrificed 100,000 of its civilians in the war against terrorism and sacrificed $500 billion of its economy to keep America safe. So why would you let this coward, elite, military-industrial complex, military contractors, energy companies, narcotic heads improvise a separatist agenda where they can convert the entire region of Waziristan and Afghanistan into a narcotic industry that's profitable for them, and a perpetual war zone where they can sell their weapons and make money off the dead bodies of your soldiers, of the hemorrhage of your economy? Why would you let that happen? Where is your common sense? If you are a democracy, prove it. Americans, if you're a democracy, prove it. Do what is the right thing to do. Stop these people from trying to disrupt the world, to sell more weapons. Stop these people from trying to do what is not in your national interest, what is not good for your children, what is not good for your people, what is not good for your present, what has not been good for your past, and what will not be good for your future. Nobody is going to do this for you. You have to get up and do it yourself. You want a safe world. You want a future where everybody can coexist, regardless of race, regardless of religion, regardless of background, regardless of nationality. We have one earth. We have one planet. We cannot destroy it to make the military-industrial complex happy, that wants to breed another war, that wants to escalate violence, that wants to escalate conflict in a war-struck zone of Afghanistan, at the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, by breeding separatist organizations like PTM, because it suits their banks, it suits their wallets, at the cost of your soldiers, at the cost of your economy. I have no reason to be here. I'm a physician, I'm post-call, I'm tired, I didn't get good sleep last night, and I'm on call tonight again. But it is in your interest to stop another conflict from getting escalated right now, before it is too late. By the time US invaded Iraq and 100,000, more than actually 1 million Iraqis got killed as collateral damage, it was too late to reverse the tide of time and come to a point where you could have stopped this war from happening under your name with your tax money. Today, the silent actors like Dick Cheney, Rupert Murdoch, Jacob Rothschild, they're abusing your tax money against your wishes, against your will, to break up sovereign nations that are not a threat for your democracy, and they have done nothing but help you in your war against terrorism, and they have been doing so without any selfish concerns, at the cost of their own people. Give me one country that sacrificed 100,000 civilians in this war against terrorism to help the world kept safe, to keep the world safe from terrorism. Give me one country that helped you so much. Give me one country that sacrificed so much for US. So why will you let the secret government of US destroy and break up a sovereign nation that is not a threat for the US and that has always been one of its best allies in the past? Today, I want to bring this to your attention that please kindly get out of your sleep. By the time you wake up, another war is going to erupt in the zone. When these separatist organizations get violent, which they have been doing in the past, the region is going to become a hub of more terrorism. And there is only as much Pakistan can do to stop things from getting violent. You have to nip this in the bud. You have to stop another Iraq crisis from happening. You have to stop another 9/11 from happening. You have to help Pakistan Army, Pakistan in trying to keep peace alive in the region of Waziristan that is at the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, so that another 9/11 does not happen. Because 9/11 was not good for you. 9/11 was not good for this world. 9/11 was only good for the military-industrial complex that wanted to invade 6 to 7 countries to occupy their oil reserves and to sell their weapons. But it precipitated one of the worst recessions that the US faced. Increased homelessness, increased poverty, increased loss of life, increased loss of US soldiers who were used as puppets in this war for the energy companies, for the military-industrial complex. And someone sitting somewhere does not want the war to end. Someone wants a perpetual war in the region of Afghanistan because he wants to sell more weapons, because he wants to sell more narcotics. Do you know that Afghanistan is one of the biggest dens of the narcotic industry? And do you know where are these narcotics coming? They are coming to US. They are being used by your kids. I'm a physician. There has been an epidemic of opioid abuse in the US. And where do these opioids come from? Where does the heroin come from? It comes from Afghanistan. So this guy or this girl who owns the military-industrial complex does not want the drugs to stop coming to US. So it wants to keep the region of Afghanistan abused as a narcotic industry at the cost of the lives of your children, at the cost of the lives of your soldiers, at the cost of the lives of your economy. Tell me, why would you allow this man or this girl to continue with such a coward, illicit, unconstitutional agenda that just wants to destroy the region for a perpetual war, for more narcotics profits at the cost of your lives? It is in your national interest that Afghanistan has peace. It is in your national interest that Pakistan does not break up, because Pakistan is your lifeline in the region. It has been one of your best buddies. Give me one country again that would sacrifice 100,000 people to help you in the war against terrorism. Give me one country that would allow a loss of $500 billion of economy to help your country Pakistan did that because it was the right thing to do, because Pakistan does not stand by terrorism. There is a huge amount of propaganda by the Indian lobbies that have been proven to be based upon lies and deceit that are trying to malign and slander Pakistan. But what Pakistan has done is only to keep the world safe and to eradicate terrorism as much as possible. You have to stop these people who are amongst you. You have to tell them no more. You have to tell them to stop abusing your tax money to break up sovereign nations that have been your best buddies in the past. You have to stop these people from destroying peace in Afghanistan because they want more profits from the narcotics and because they want more profits from selling more weapons. This is my humble attempt today to come here and tell you to stop another war from starting, because these people, the separatist organization, they are not that peaceful. They talk about human rights, but in reality, they have attacked various areas and they have used violence against the officials. And when the time came, they're going to resort to terrorism. So tell your government not to fund and sponsor separatist agendas in Pakistan, because it is not in your national interest to do so, because Pakistan is your lifeline. Because if something happened to Pakistan, if Pakistan became unstable, you will lose your biggest ally in the zone. You will lose Afghanistan forever, and more 9/11s will happen. Pakistan has made heroic efforts, losing its soldiers, getting its soldiers martyred every day in the war against terrorism. Pakistan has lost 100,000 of its own civilians in the war against terrorism because it refused to help the terrorists. And they got mad at Pakistan, so they blasted in every nook and corner of Pakistan. If Pakistan had cooperated with the terrorists, they wouldn't have been blasting Pakistanis themselves. Use your common sense against the lies and the deceit that India is trying to feed you, because India wants a perpetual proxy war in Afghanistan. Use your brains. Did India give up 100,000 civilians in the war against terrorism? Did India lose $500 billion of economy in the war against terrorism? No. It was Pakistan that is still trying to keep the world safe at the cost of its economy, at the cost of its own people, because it is the right thing to do, because Pakistan believes in peace, because you need to understand this point, that if you did not stop your government from empowering and energizing separatist agendas in the region, this is going to just fuel trillions of dollars worth of more hemorrhage of your economy and the lives of US soldiers in the zone. Afghanistan has to be made peaceful, and Afghanistan has to be stabilized. And that is not going to happen if you're going to sit on your couches and just watch the Kardashians. You have to get up. You have to make calls to your government, to your senators, to your congressmen, to your congresswomen. You have to file petitions against the coward, illicit, unconstitutional agendas that are fueling more conflict, more escalation of violence in the zone, that will not allow Afghanistan to be made peaceful, because peace for some people is not profitable. But This is hurting you guys. This is hurting the Americans. This is hurting the people at the core. If there is disruption, if there is destabilization, if there is unrest, if there is violence at the other end of the world in Afghanistan, this will escalate more terrorism. This could precipitate more 9/11s. Your goal must be to try to minimize violence, to try to minimize conflict. So those trying to initiate separatist agendas via organizations like PTM in the name of human rights are not interested in human rights. They are interested in fueling another war. They are interested in precipitating another 9/11, which is not good for anybody. Nobody wants another 9/11 in the world. Nobody wants more Americans to die from terrorism. Nobody wants anybody to die from terrorism, because terrorism is not good for anyone. Whether you're an American, whether you're a Pakistani, whether you're an Afghan, whether you're anybody in the world, no matter what your religion is, no matter what your race is, no matter what your background, nationality is, nobody can benefit from terrorism. The only people who have made trillions of dollars from terrorism are sitting in the most powerful houses of the world. And they have used the lives of your soldiers. They have destroyed your economy because they want to fill their bank balances. They want to profit off the lives of your people. And you must do something about it. If you're going to just not do anything about it, if you're going to just look away, more terrorism will happen. And this is not in the national interest of US. This is not what you would want. Nobody wants that. Pakistan does not want that. Afghanistan does not want that. Americans, of course, don't want that. But you got to do something about it. You cannot allow some very messed up people to run your country and run your government. Because look at all the mess that happened in the past. Look at all the lives lost. Your lives, your children's lives, the lives of your people, the lives of your soldiers, and the hemorrhage of trillions of dollars of your economy. You cannot allow that to happen again. You gotta stop. You gotta stop the secret government, these secret think tanks, these secret policymakers and breakers from precipitating separatist agendas in the region in trying to break up Pakistan, that has only been a victim of terrorism, that has only been your best buddy ever, and that has no intentions to threaten you, that has no intentions to attack you, that wants peace in Pakistan, in the region, and in the world. Learn to build bridges. Learn to build partnerships. Stop trying to intimidate other nations. You can achieve so much through partnerships. You can achieve so much through building bridges, through making more allies, through working together as a team for a prosperous and peaceful world tomorrow. But you gotta stop these hungry, these greedy people who are living in some very powerful houses in the US, who have so much power, who have so much influence over your media, over your government, that now they will not stop in anything. They want Afghanistan to be a narcotic industry so that your children can die from opioid overuse, so that your children 10 die from heroin overdose. Would you want that to happen? If you want Afghanistan to be not a narcotic industry, because the heroin produced in Afghanistan comes over here and is used by your children, then you gotta stop these people who are making trillions of dollars of profit off the narcotic industry in Afghanistan right now. And you gotta stop the military industrial complex that is precipitating a perpetual war in Afghanistan, in the border zone of Pakistan and Afghanistan, because it wants to sell more weapons, because it is profitable for the military industrial complex. So I'm here, and this is my attempt to try to tell all of you that kindly wake up, kindly call your senators, call your government, do something about it, try to stop this unconstitutional, illicit, covert, hidden agenda that is trying to disrupt the sovereignty of an independent nation that has always been very friendly towards US. And it is not in the national interest to disrupt the sovereignty of Pakistan that is being the lifeline of US in the war against terrorism. Think about if Pakistan did not give the route to the US and the NATO forces via its land and soil to reach Afghanistan, what would you have done in the war against terrorism? Pakistan right now is mediating a truce for peace amongst the Afghan Talibans and the US government so that we can all learn to coexist and there is no more terrorism for anybody. And this is what you should believe in. Terrorism is not good for anyone, not just the Americans, also for the Afghans, also for the Pakistanis, and for every person in this world. Because we are a global village. What happens in one part reaches the other part. We cannot say that it's not my concern, it's not my business, it's too far away. When 9/11 happened, that happened on this soil. American lives were lost. And all those soldiers who are right now stationed in Afghanistan, they're Americans. They're the children of America. They're going to lose their lives if there's escalation of violence in Afghanistan, Waziristan region, because these coward, unconstitutional military contractors want more war in the zone, and because these narcotic industry owners want to kill more of your children from an opioid overdose. You gotta stop this. I'm gonna end this right now, but remember, when the Iraq war happened, by the time the damage was done, it was too late. By the time you heard about it and you could do something about it, it was too late. But right now I'm here to warn you, to tell you to stop your government from precipitating, from organizing, from funding, sponsoring separatist organizations that are trying to break up a sovereign nation that has been your biggest ally in the past. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.